Oh, hello. So, very exciting, very important update that I have done for the channel is there was recently a Steam sale and something that caught my eye. I would help out with getting an idea of how the stream work is that Tabletop Simulator recently went on discount. Now, I managed to pick up a copy before the sale and going through a few videos, going through a few tutorials, I have officially sorted out a way where we can do Twitch plays Warhammer through Tabletop Simulator. Now, the way it would work, we'll definitely need to test run it, work out how to do it. I've got a few ways of doing it, how I think I will use it. So you can use Nightbot, and using Nightbot means you can get specific people running specific armies, or you can use. I'd have to work out a way to do uh, which is Twitch maps. So where you click maps, that's it. So you click maps, certain spot, and that's how we know where you want to use it. And we do that as a very good test run. So I thought to explain the situation, I play a small game, quite literally. It is one, so I will show you the setup. This is the setup I have. So when you enter, I will show you. I'm using, we go to games and workshop. I'm using FTC for the map base. And for this one, I created a small map, or I didn't create it, I downloaded a small map using this. It's only a small provincial map. I use Yellow Scribe to build the army. So, as you can see already, objectives wise, I have got a few armies available. Militum, Black Templars, Chaos Space Marines. I've actually got two of those. I think Space Marine 2 is better. Grey Knights, Necrons, Orcs, um, Thousand Sun. Now, what you'll know, which is very good, is that the the armies on the previous videos, the shorts, I have built them in here. So that's what the armies are, except for World Eaters because I don't have any World Eaters. I didn't do it on the film. That's what Chaos Space Marine one is. They use the the stuff built from the previous army. Same with, however, Chaos Marine 2 is a little bit different. I show you quickly. They have a few other bits, Abaddon, a few other sections, but this is currently the way I'm going to do it. So here's the setup. I think that it is very important that we show a game. So I have set it up, currently playing against myself, which is very difficult to do. I get what that means. Moving the berserkers around, all of that, moving the space marines around. So we can set it up that the whole GOM will be to, I'll show you on this screen so, is I would use Nightbot. How I can use Nightbot is if I go to logs, I wrote that myself, that was me testing it out, but I can search for people. And so I can use that to check who wants it, or we can use the Discord, which is very useful too. Discord, all sorts of things. I think the best way to find it is that I do a giveaway. If you message containing battle, you enter the giveaway, and then I can choose the winner from when we start. So I think that's the way I would do it. But let's get started. Let's show you how it would be. So I'm gonna clear all of these. Oh, I like that. I'll clear all these. One dice. So all these are gonna roll first, and then space runs. So they get two. Space Marines get five, so Space Marines will go first. That's the rule. So Space Marines going first. They have a movement of 6. However, if I want to do an advancement roll, I can do that too. But let's quickly check, make sure I've got some abilities I can use. So this target elimination is very important. So each time this unit is selected to shoot, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, add 2 to the attacks characteristic of bolt rifles equipped by models in this unit. And you can only set one enemy unit as a target of all these units' attacks. It sounds like a bad thing, however, but where you can only choose to select one enemy, this squad here counts as one unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, so by using the numpad, I can show this off, the bolt rifle have a range of 24. And because I put the ruler on these, I did not put the ruler on these, I right click these, go to toggles, measurement movement. After doing that, I can see how far I can move forward. So if I move forward 6 inches, am I in range? Oh, I am not. However, something very interesting is the bolt rifle has the assault ability, which means that if I do an advanced check, which is 1d6, I can still shoot my weapons. So if I roll the d6, I get 1. So which I can move 1 inch, and I have a tiny suspicion 1 inch is not close enough. So that will end my turn. Now, as World Eaters, they are very, very strong close range. So they want to close the gap as soon as possible. With their movement of 6 and their melee being a lot stronger than their bolt pistol. They have a few other bits as well. So I won't get into it properly. There'll be more going on, what to do with it. They have the blood surge ability, which is each time an enemy unit sets to shoot, after the unit has finished making its attacks, if any models from the unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, the unit can enter blood surge. So a roll 1d6. This unit can be moved a number of inches up to that result, but this unit must finish that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. And so those models can be moved within engagement range of that unit. The unit cannot make a blood surge move while it's battle shocked. Battle shocked, how that works is that when the unit reaches half strength, so because every unit has 2 health, when that total unit's health equals 5, it does a battle shock test. If it fails the battle shock test, which is 2d6s, if it's more than the leadership, it's passed. If it's less, then you fail, and that's not great. So by doing that, however, it puts a few perspectives in. The most dangerous one is when you're battle shocked and you're locked into combat. If you try and fall back, you have to take a escape test, and that can cause you to lose squad members in a very risky move, but a very strong close range. So I leave that they would want to run. That was the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the range of my pistol, and as you can see, no near anything. So even though these guys want to close the distance, it might be advantage too. I made of another advancement check, and I get another one. So not only they're going to move 6, they're also going to move 7. However, this time I would not be able to fire my weapon. So move out 7. Now, moving the gap, sometimes you don't actually want to move. If I show my range, and I have put my space marines in, I've put my berserkers in range of the space marine, which is not great. Now that I know that, and this is obviously, I'm working both sides here, but that's not good because the bolt rifles have heavy And what heavy does is if I go over to, this is what's really cool about the F, FTC, is they've got all the stuff here, all the stuff out. If we go over to heavy, I get +1 to hit when the bearer's unit, yeah, remains stationary, which is really good. So I check that. My hits will then increase, which is very important. And so, and I'm now in range with 24. AP of -1, so when the berserkers have to do when I have to do their savior check, they have one less hit, which is very important. So maybe I should have tried to get close range because I get one more action. But I think I made the right decision. Quickly working out what to just go quickly. Do not here. So I think because I have hidden and because it's stand still, I get one more attack. So instead of hitting 10 dice, I'm going to roll 15 dice, which is very dangerous. Definitely not what we want to see. But you have to right click. Like that. So all 15 dice to roll, and I need 3 to hit. However, actually, I'm going to treat it like that. I think that's what it means by attack. The heavy ability letting me have one more attack because I'm stationary. However, that could probably mean accuracy goes one down. I'm not too sure. This is why I'm very important. I'm still new to this. Probably not the person immediately to ask questions, but yeah, if I've definitely done it wrong, please let me know in the comments because you don't want to do it wrong on stream. I'd rather do it wrong in a video and then have a comment going like, "That's not how this works." Uh, so I have got 8 shots here that have made it. Now I have got my known berserkers. So my berserkers, they have a toughness of 4, and my my bolt rifle has a strength of 4. So because the 4s are the exact same, they will I roll both of them, and if I roll all my dice again, and if I get 4 or higher, that will wound, which 4 of them wound. However, not just done yet. My berserkers also have a saving throw of 3 or more. However, the bolt rifle has an AP of -1. So that means that if they get 4 or higher, they will not take any damage. They will just hit the armor and not go through. Or 3. So they take 1 point. And I always do it by the closest unit. Champion is the closest. Now, afterwards, this says I could have done charge. However, I'm not in range. Now, my berserkers are going to move forward again. They're going to try and get as close as they can to the space marines in order to get in range. Now, they're going to move up 6 inches, measured by the ruler. Moved up 6 inches. Now, will that put them in range for a charge? It will not. They are not within charging range. So, they're going to take another opportunity. And what they're going to do is they're going to charge again. But they're going to do another advancement check. They're going to try and close the distance as much as possible. They're going to rush in as quick as possible. And they get 4 this time, which 1, 2, 3. Now they are in engagement range. They are ready. So when their turn hits, they will be in range. Now, as my space marines, I can choose to either continue I could do an assault. I could do the exact same attack, being in range, or I could drop back, lose out in one hit, and cause the berserkers to have a little bit extra problem. For the sake of this, I'm actually going to stay stationary again, and so I get my another 15 hits. So if I roll all my dice now, looking back on this, I have a feeling that I overdoing them, and that it shouldn't be 15 hits. It should be accuracy should increase. Because if you're holding a big gun, just because you're standing still, it doesn't make that much sense that you can hit more shots because you stood still. It makes sense that you're more accurate because you stood still and you're not running with your gun. So my bad. But I'm going to stick with it for the sake of the video. And if I'm wrong, let me know. So that is 3 hits. So we're going to get rid of these. We now have 8 hits, which is very good. It's a very good thing you want with 3 or more. No, not 3 or more. 4 or more to wound. 3 do not wound, so they have 5. Now they need to roll. Now my berserker's turn to roll, and if they get 4 or more because of the AP, then they will get the glancing and it will be okay. Which, oh, they nearly did, but nope. That is 2 wounds. That means they're going to lose their berserker. Their berserker is out. He has died, and they're going to lose their. They're going to lose one of those health points. Yes, because 2 wounds, 1 and 1. That makes sense. Okay. Now that they are in range, what are they going to do? Actually, they're going to move forward 6 because they're allowed to do that. And if I measure just to make sure they are not it, oh, that is not what I wanted. I wanted, which is this one, which can be done in inches. Okay, so they are outside engagement range. Engagement range is 1 inch, just for reference. But so they are going to take this opportunity while they're close enough because you can do a charge and a shoot shoot first. So they are going to use their bolt pistols. Now I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 berserkers, and they all roll a die, and they all have an attack characteristic of 1. So I only have 4, and if they roll, hopefully I'll get 3 or more. And I do. All 4 dice connect. Now, do they wound? This is the same as the rifle, as they only have a strength of 4. So if they get 4 or more, then they'll wound, which 3 of them do. We get 3 wounds. Now, instead of it being 4 or more, it's actually 3 or more because the AP does not apply to the bolt pistol. And they save themselves, the Ultra Marines have saved themselves against all wounds. Now, it's the Berserker's time to properly shine and then success failure. So they are 4 inches away. So how it works is that you do that charging range is 2 inches. So you would roll 2d6s, and if that value is equal, like it gives the inches to the distance. So as we're 4 inches away, engagement range is 1 inch. So if I can get 3 or more on this dice, then I can get into engagement range and I can pile in and I can get into my melee phase, which is very important. And I get that. So I got 8 on the dice, which means now my berserkers are probably in range to do some damage. So the rule is that they have to be base-to-base contact. So that is as close as I'm going to get it because just I could zoom in more. I think that's good enough. Now we enter the fight phase. This is the big step. They get 4 attacks each, with a hit rate of 3+ on the dice. So, as I have 4 berserkers, I have 16 dices to get hit at 3 or more. Oh, that's a lot of hits. We got four. This could be curtains if the rest hit. So normally, as we've done it before, is that the strength would be that is 4 and 4, so I have +4 on the dice. However, the chain blade actually has a higher strength than Space Marine's toughness, which means that it's 3 or more on the dice. And that means that it's a danger zone for the Ultramarines. There are 12 dice that wound. What's worse for the Space Marines too is that the chain blade has an AP of -1, and the armor penetration -1 to their saving throw 3+. So they need to roll 4 or more on the dice to save themselves. Will they? They save themselves a few times, so they're not completely dead. However, 6 dice make it through, and that means these front guys are all going to die here. So we continue the fire because they're still in the phase. Now, Space Marines turn. However, as I said before, with Battleshock test, they have got to check if they are in Battleshock, as they now officially have half strength. As 3 of them die, they have 10 wounds in the total of the unit. 3 of them die, they're only influenced, that's half health. They roll 2 or more, and now, normally we would follow the leadership of the sergeant, but but sergeant is dead, so we go off the 6+ instead. However, it's the same, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. So they need a 6 or more to not get battle shocked, which they do. They get 7. They're no longer battle shocked, even though they've lost half their units. They're no longer battle shocked, so they can run away quite free. They can run away freely, and they don't have to take any kind of test because they're not running through enemy units. So, however, for the sake of this, I think they're going to stand and fight. They're going to be strong. They're going to be attempt to, even though it's a bad idea. Another thing that I'll probably comment on and will be in the comments of like I'll probably have a what went wrong paragraph under the where I comment on saying what I did wrong in the video, and you're gonna have to ignore me. But if you fall back, can you still shoot your guns? I always predict that to be the case, but I think if you fall back, you cannot then charge back in. I think that's the rule. So my Space Marines are going to they're going to run 6 inches back in whatever direction, as long as it's 6 inches, and then fire their bolt rifles. They're going to fire their bolt rifles straight afterwards. So remember, we have the rule bolt rifles where it is 2 attacks each and -1 on the armor penetration. So there's only 2 of them, 2 attacks each. That is 4 dice. So they're going to roll 4 dice. All hits, same strength. So that means they need 4 or more to wound. 2 wounds. That's pretty decent. They could hopefully knock out one, and they have an EP of -1. So we need a 4 on the dice to take out a Space Marine. They do not. They end up killing the closest berserker, and then we're not tied up just yet. However, they have officially managed to knock a number down, which is very important. So the berserkers are going to just run straight in. That's their thing. 6 inches away, they get straight into combat. They're going to get back into combat, and even though that the Space Marines officially took out one, they're now back in combat. probably wasted their turn falling back, so they couldn't fall back far enough to beat out the berserkers, but that's fine. So remember they have 4 in their chain blades, and there's 3 left. So we have 10, and then we have 2. We will then roll the dice. Oh, not many hits. Not that many hits. Wait, how I think I said something. No, it does do 1 damage. Sorry, I remember doing this with a different section before, and it puts 2 damage, but doesn't matter. So, not a great start for the Berserkers because they've only got 4 hits. However, that will kill the Space Marines if it doesn't work. So, they need 3 or more to wound because they have stronger strength and toughness. They get all the wounds, and because of that, all these dice need to be 4 or more. If they aren't, Space Marines are going to be in serious problem. And they get 2 saves, which means that, and yeah, I'm just getting rid of all dice. It means another one bites dust. We have 1 Space Marine, 1 lone Space Marine left, and even though he's not battle shocked, even though he's not badly hurt or whatever, he's going to go down fighting, and he's going to go straight into melee combat with the 3. Roll, gets all hits. He then needs to get 4 or more to wound, but he fails to wound any berserker, and that is not good. So, last attack, last thing, berserker's going to go straight in. They're going to see if they can wipe out the last ultimate from the board. They need a 3 or more to hit, and they got 8. A lot of hits. They also then need 3 or more to wound because of the difference. They get that. They get a lot of that. So for that Space Marine to live with 5 dice on the board, they would need 4 or more on at least 4 or more of those dice. If they only get 3 and 2 go through, they are out of it. Not likely to happen. And but they do. They make it. They have 1 health left. 1 health left, which is kind of pointless. It's kind of just running out the clock. So, but I will do it. Do this last final round because you probably want to see them get. You probably want to see them get destroyed if you are a fan of the World Eaters. I probably was probably rooting for the Space Marines, but can't root for everything. There's a chance that they do survive this. They need to get 4 or more. Nope. No. Quick round. Nice. That's a lot of hits. I don't think they will recover this one. They need 3 or more, which they do. Okay, we are in the exact same situation it was last time with 5 on the dice. Can they survive? They needed 4 or more, and they only got 2 hits, and that is a dead Insector Marine, and that would mean that World Eaters have destroyed the Space Marines. They have lost, taking half casualties, not enough to put them in any dangerous spot. I actually realise now that they should have been battle shocked because of that 1 hit. That makes them 5 to 10. So, right. So things I need to work on for next game will be that oh, I can't even spell. Oh no, I can't remember battle shock test. There we go. Need to remember battle shock test. That's 1. I then need to remember if you can fall back and then shoot slash charge. I have to do that. So, and finally, probably the silliest one that I did does the heavy trait. It's not even a trait, it's an ability. It's going really well. So minor dyslexia moment. There's the heavy ability effect, number of hits or accuracy. And I promise you, even though most of this is spelled wrong, uh, I will fix it. I will work this out. So yeah, and it's off center, so you can love it even more. So thank you guys for watching if you got this far. This is only a quick video to demonstrate it. There, I now have no excuse to stream because I have got it all set up in a way. Um, I do have armies already made. So let's you know what? I'm gonna quickly do that while I'm here. I'm just gonna show off that's not what I meant to do. I'm gonna quickly close the thing, close it, and the restart. This is the best way I found to restart. Is just go to my menu, create scene player. I'm just gonna show off a few of these armies that I have built. We're actually gonna change table to the rectangle table, and I'm gonna line up just a few armies just so you can see. So I will have the timestamps so everyone knows what's going on. So I think I'm going to start with the most recent army I made, which was the Astra Military army. So this is a small army that I made. This doesn't follow any. This was a post I got from Reddit, and I think the goal is just a well-rounded army. Astra Militant units are pretty cool in the sense that they just kind of go off and attack. I use some I can't. I don't know if I can tag the creator, but I made this connection. I use this collection off of the Steam Workshop. That's where I get all of these models from. They're all from the Steam Workshop. And this is where I've got. So for the army, we have got two armored sentinels: Stormlord, Lord Solar, uh, Terrence Prime, Storm Chimera, which is Legends, uh, Tempest Squad, Shock Trooper Squad. This is different because that's a Tempest and it's a Tempest Front. I believe this is a Tempest squad and that is a no, that's a Commander squad and that's a Tempest squad. We've got three sets of tasking squads, two sets of shock squads. These are proper Cadian squads, and then we have got two sets of Cadian Guardsmen squads. That will be that. I think that's manpower, very much based on manpower, but Stormlord having the ability to transport, being a transport vehicle, and even I believe it's the main one. That's a dedicated transport. So having to be able to fill up with different bases, different stuff like that is very good to go. Then we have got let's show off one. So this is an army that wasn't found online. This is an army that I built from the go with the old one. So this is the army that we built from the last videos, where I was explaining the prices and all of that. So this is what the army came to, just to show off in person. So you have Stomper, we have our boys over there, we have the two looters, two squads of looters, we have Big Mac, who's here. We have the truck, which is great. Orc names are brilliant. Kill rigs or kill rig, battle wagon. We've got the Squig Hog squad and the Killer Clan squad, as well as some Beast Snagger boys led by Denal, which is a great name. Kill rig is a transport, so we can definitely fill up our boys with inside the rigs and include them. I believe the battle wagon is it's just a transport. It's not dedicated. So whereas the truck is dedicated transport, so we can definitely fill up a load of all of that in there. And I think this is probably looking at how I've done it, going for cheap isn't always the best for viable. So even though this has got a big range of everything, and having a Stomper in there is very cool to have as a gigantic weapon, it is not as strong as other stuff. which is not great. Uh, another army. So another army that we built together, which is the Thousand Suns. So this one I think is a bit more viable from what I've seen. I think is a bit more viable. You get Magnus in there, which is very good. You get Heldrake, you get Exile Sorcerers, which are their own thing. We then have two squads of Rubik Marines, plus a squad Terminator squad and Tagzor. So Infernal Master as well, very important. And our two big hitters, other than Magnus himself, is going to be the Heldrake and the Hellbrook, which is very useful to have. And I think last but not least, I'm actually going to remove these from. I'm going to remove all of these from the board, or at least most of this from the board, just because of the way it is I'm going to just compare two armies. And the reason I compare the two is because of just the way, just how it is. So the army on the left will be the army that I built using the cheapness and other stuff. So this is the first set of Chaos Marines that I have got. I built these using the Shadow Spear set, which ignores the grey, the possessed, as they don't work anymore. That's why we got the Venom Crawler. It also includes the Veterans of the Long War as part of the set. And finally, it includes the Combat Patrol. This is what we have. We have a lot of squads of Legionnaires. We have quite a big squad of Terminators, Chosen, we also have Possess, and Master of Possessions, as well as Chaos Lords, Obliterators, and Venom Corps, which will definitely make a big army. However, instead, I have done a second set, what I've learned, and we have got this set here, which is a comparison of the two. So instead of using the Shadow Spear set, I have changed it up slightly, and I don't remember exactly what set it was. I think I used the Boarding Patrol. So I used the Boarding Patrol instead of Shadow Spear, and that ended up. So I lost the Venom Crawler, I lost the Chosen still here, I lost a Master of Possession, I lost the Obliterators, but we gained the Cultists, and we gained, and because I had enough space, I put Abaddon in here as a quick little. Oh, I've actually made Abaddon a lot bigger, but we've got Abaddon in here instead. And I think as models go, these are very well made. Whoever spent the time um putting them into the game is very they've got a lot of time that I think is very impressive. I'm gonna flip these around because that annoyed me. Did say last one? I'm going to get carried away now. I think finally, I think probably I'm going to quickly show off the game that I set up, and these are probably the two. I wouldn't say the two best, but I'm going to show off the World Eater army, the big World Eater army, the big Grey Knight army. Now, the Grey Knight army was something I built using the template. No, it didn't actually. This Grey Knight army actually was found off Reddit again. Someone had built great full force Grey Knight army, and I wanted to use that instead. She's kind of cheating, kind of not. So I picked red flag. And I think the way we will do it is to begin with, we will do Twitch Play, so I will control everything with Twitch telling me what to do for their end. But when we officially set up, I will probably do something. If people that have the playground, they can use that to spectate, and and then we had choose one blue player. So the blue player can control it, red player can control it, and we've set up and we try and keep it as serious as possible. But this is what we've got. So I'm actually going to just remind myself of that's why I didn't do that. So the reason these guys are in reserve is because they are actually in the World Eater's Rhino. Same with so the Berserkers are in the Rhino this one, and the Berserkers with the Master of Executions is in the Rhino. Now, Angron, which I was very surprised to read, has actually got the deep strike ability. So he's in reserve. So then when the Grey Knights push up, when they get 9 inches behind, oh, I I have to take a breather after that. So I hope that doesn't go anywhere. And I hope that everyone, that's fine. When the enemy units push up and there's an Angron, I'm not gonna recover from that. That's gonna end my career before it's even started. That's fine. We'll keep that in. I don't do a lot of editing in the videos. I think people have noticed, and that's fine. I like doing it free form. I like because then everyone can see the full process and what's happened and everything like that. So we'll keep that. We'll keep that. And so what Ron can do is if there's 9 inches of space between him and an enemy, he can actually appear at the end of the moving phase. And I believe this strike lets deep deep strike still lets you move normally after that happens. So that deep strike putting Angron into play counts as a normal move, but then after that he can then do a shooting phase and his charge and melee phase. Now something the Green Knights can also do is that every single piece on this board currently has the deep strike ability, which makes sense with the Grey Knights' whole setup of rushing in and or they kind of just kind of appear out of nowhere to stop chaos and all of that. And that is very useful. So all these have different abilities, but they all have deep strike. They're all very important. I believe the trimmer. A lot of the times you can see that they've got a like you've got Brazilian Pro here. He is actually leading the Purifier squad, and so is the Librarian in Deep Strike with the Paladins, and so is the Grandmaster in. I believe he's in Terminator armor as well. He's also within the leadings. He's leading the team with Terminator, and I think that makes it so that they take like he can move with them very easily. He then also, I have to work out why leaders are so much more important than, okay, that's great. More important than other, like them being separate. But I can imagine it's like you'd rather have all your forces pushing up together than just on their own. And I think that's easier to do because of that. Makes the game a little bit quicker. But yeah, this is it. I think this is the start of whatever will come from the channel. This was definitely where we go. I was hoping that I will hope eventually that this will work out well enough, and then we get to a point where instead of using Simulator, I will then use the models in game. We'll use miniatures in real life. Obviously, it probably won't look as good terrain wise. However, we will have all the setup needed to do fully fledged games in person, or I say in person, with me doing it in person and you watching from the screen, but you can see the miniatures move and all of that. So I think this is definitely probably the way to go. From now on, I will, when I stream, there'll be a week in advance check. I was planning on streaming. I don't know when the next stream will be, or scratch that. When the first stream will be. However, I think that it will be relatively soon. I was kind of hoping the videos would pop off a little bit more before I streamed. Obviously, that's very, I'm trying to look for the right word, hopeful of me. I do think, but thanks to everyone that is continuing to support, is continuing to follow. If you make it this far, like, just thank you so much. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys.